getting to what might be next, potentially in the week, is Secretary Mattis watching, does he have an ear to the ground here? The other fellow general here in the cabinet going off into the sunset, is Mattis potentially in the conversation, and how might he be in the conversation?
Well, you know, you think back to the start of this administration and Mattis and Tillerson and those folks that were described as being the grown-ups. Mattis really is the most senior and only one of those left, and obviously in a very important position. He's someone that the president, I think, still respects for the most part, although we've seen him go around Mattis, do some things on his own of late. And it does sort of, you know, we don't know the answer to how long General Mattis is going to stick around, who might replace him. I think sometimes the thing that keeps people in these positions, at least people like Mattis, is a sense of responsibility, needing to stay and stick around and make sure that the Pentagon continues to run, and that the president doesn't do anything and direct the Pentagon to do something that he can't stop if he thinks he needs to. Another thing is just the fact that there are so many positions that we might see change in. We mentioned the DHS secretary earlier. There's also an Interior secretary who's facing ethics investigations, who's likely to be brought before a Democratic House in the new year if they don't switch him out. Yeah. And so there are a lot of changes, and sometimes I think the triage mode keeps certain people in place. There's so many fires to put out, sometimes they're wary of starting new ones.
And Jay, quickly, what is good for this president and what is good for this institution of the presidency? Those things not necessarily being the same.
I was going to say, Richard, that there's, I think, increasingly a big difference between what's good for the president and good for the institution and good for the country. And, you know, as the president really begins to hunker down and defend himself, defend his office, defend his election, and whether the election was actually a fair and just and well done election, there's so many questions swirling around that as these increasing allegations come out from Mueller about whether or not there was collusion with the Russians in that election. What is good for the president, what is good for the White House, it seems to be diverging. And as that diverges, Republicans on the Hill are becoming increasingly worried that their party might go down with this man if this man is going down. And I think the thing to watch moving forward, especially once Democrats take the House, is how do Republicans on the Hill respond? Do they move to protect the president, and at what cost, and at what point do they say, okay, we're not going to protect him anymore?
The midterm's still hanging over. That's right. Jeff Mason, Eli Stokols, Jay Newton Small. Thank you, and have a good Sunday.
Thank you.
All righty. Coming up, Trump versus Comey now.